Kevin. I'm the second son. As you probably know, the second sons are usually the craziest, so totally irresponsible, the whole bit. So it's true to form. Yes, you probably saw me running about 5 minutes before the service with Maxine about to wring my neck, and my son going, "Oh, I shouldn't have taken care of that long shower," and to try to figure out which shirt to wear. But yes, I am the irresponsible Kevin. Oh, one thing to note, we had the most important thing, which was the guest book, so please sign that. Okay, so let's see. My dad was a big-time tool-time guy. Not the bumbling Tim Allen character in the show, but more the quintessential do-it-yourself, i.e. DIY kind of person. In the old Noe Valley house, Dad had a workshop with a bona fide homemade workbench loaded with saws for different purposes, drill bits of all shapes and sizes, and every type of nail, screw, bolt, and nut organized in recycled jam jars. Dad was always doing something with those tools, and whether it was a craftsman quality shelf for orchids, or slam a bunch of scrap wood together to make a rickety storage shelf, which I still have in my garage, believe it or not. I want to share with you today a few of my dad's tools and the story behind each one of them. And I think you'll recognize some of these as I pull them out of the box. This one is very infamous. I think most of you have this in your garage. Basically, this came out from a blueprint from Popular Mechanics. And it's made out of plywood, plywood. It had an electrical outlet. And for those who are, before pre-Starbucks days, it's a coffee can. When they actually, I think Safeway still has coffee cans, but this is a coffee can in here that handles a spiral. Spiral. So anyway, that's what Dad, he just made it. And why did he make it? Because, during these times of, back in the days, we didn't have Amazon, we didn't have Target, didn't have Costco. You couldn't just go down and buy something to, a gadget or like, a cable, extension cable roller. So, he was a do-it-yourself guy. And during that time, he said, okay, there was nothing there, I'll just build it. I saw this cool thing, I'll just build it. And that's what he did. And the significance of this, I think how he touched upon many of you, is that he used this extensively at Panorama Carnival. And because back in the day, there was no rechargeable, right? There's no rechargeable drills, things like that. So you basically had to get your extension cord connected to one side of the yard, drill down, and then someone else would share it. So that's his problem he solved. But one thing that was cool about it is also you see a lot of requests of, hey, what's the plan? I think some of you either built it or asked him to build it. Because I remember back in the day, there was a bunch of coffee cans in the garage, and he was like the elves of Christmas, And thankfully, that didn't have to do anything with this deter stuff, but he loved doing it because that was part of it. So that's the infamous extension cord winder. If you still want to find out, I was trying to look it up on Google to actually find the plans of it, but it's around somewhere. Anyway, the second thing, this isn't. Oh, good thing I didn't flip it. But this is a combination wrench set with a metric one, not the the one. This is the old things that are built from Japan. Believe it or not, Japan was the cheap goods many years ago, and not taking the place of China. China is now taking this place. But basically, this is he got this. I forgot when. Maybe I was in junior high, or maybe before that. So the story behind that is that, well, this kind of ties in with Joel's, he's taught us how to bike. And, when my dad taught my older brother and I, it was back in the 60s. And, Standing Street used to be a place where you could rent bikes. You could rent a bike, you go to the Panhandle, riding around. That was the best feeling I always remember. just be able to do that. And so later on, he bought, went down to White Front, bought Huffy bikes. Yes, Huffy bike made in USA. Not in Taiwan, but yes. And got one that was just a 3-speed, and another one that was like I don't know if you guys remember. I think the hipsters, they ride these things now in the bike party and stuff now. But it's the one that the Schwinn Stingray. It was a knockoff of the Schwinn Stingray with the big old banana seat, the big old, the old school chopper style handlebars, and had 3 speeds. So anyway, he also bought this bike, which was the second bike. It was from Sears, and believe it or not, it was a Peugeot, which is crazy. Sears and Peugeot, you never think of that, right? So when I got older, I started getting into bikes a lot. I started, fiddling around with it, take apart, doing the maintenance. And so one thing you notice is that, hey, crescent wrench could only go so far in repairing those things. And so he bought the metric set, because all the foreign bikes are all metric. They're not in, quarter inch, 1 inch, and so that thing always had with me, I used it, borrowed it when I can, to build my own bikes. I'm still into it. I still have a bike in the garage, which I've been procrastinating, my usual self, procrastinating, trying to put together. But that really got me into, putting things together myself, and also, just my love of just doing things, just be able to put stuff together, repair, and so on and so forth. So one important lesson I learned from it that my dad always told me was, take your time. Take your time. Don't rush it. Do not rush. To do something right, just take your time. And it finally sunk into me about that till maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago of the beauty of taking the time. Don't have to rush things. Don't have to do everything right now, like how things are. We want it now. But those are very, very strong statement there, or very thoughtful statement that he always told me ever since I was a kid, and finally sunk in 20 years later. Okay, so the last tool, which is, these are sort of things like in the pre-digital age. Now this is the digital, these are the bane of senior citizens. A PC. So, Dad always liked to learn to do new things. And one of the most important tools, as everybody knows, of the digital age, which is, the last 20 years, is the infamous PC. And Dad started out with generic, desktops, and he moved. Then I started giving my recycled PCs to him, and then he worked up to this. This was his, I hate to say the final computer, which is kind of weird to say that, but yeah, this is his last computer that he had, which is a HP. I don't know what it is, but it's a brick to me compared to the Apple. So things he learned is he's a very curious kind of guy. Just went to it, no questions asked. Yes, he did take, what was on the name? Oh yeah, he did take the classes with you. I was just like, you take it, you must be serious. And he learned a lot of things like, going to the internet, which was the biggest thing live, because it was like a virtual library to him. Because he was very, very curious and learning a lot of things. But the downfall of that is he learned the second thing he's learned is email, which was great, because he was able to connect with all the relatives, family, church, family meaning church, as well as, the Lim side and Okazaki side. But the downside of learning email is spam. And so I actually, believe it or not, I actually kept all the spam he forwarded to me. The ones that, amazing pictures, take a look at this, that kind of stuff. Or, look at these Chinese acrobat, this is so amazing. The ones you click on the GIF, and hopefully you won't, get to some site that you'll get, your computer goes down after that. But Dad was not afraid of doing that. And it was really cool for him to see, and I really have a full appreciation, just having the courage just to say, hey, I don't know it, I'm just going to go and do it, and if I crash it, oh well, that's how it goes. But one of the most important things that he got, as using it as a tool, was creating the family tree. The family tree, the Lim side as well as Okazaki side, and he put so much time into that, in dealing with the archives. And one of the cool things that came out of it is he met, or I wasn't sure, was he met online, or he introduced himself, or actually that person introduced himself to him. But it was there's this researcher in University of Las Vegas who was researching the Chinese in Nevada. What the heck's Chinese in Nevada? Well, I mean, right now it makes sense, you know, gambling, you know. But it was actually where my grandma came from. And actually, you know, what town she came from, what did she do, what was the background of her father. It was very, very interesting. And what came out of it, you know, a lot of the pictures came out of this book here. And you've seen these around the bookstore, you know, about the different neighborhoods of the city, around Bay Area. And this one is Chinese in Nevada, and actually has some really cool pictures of my grandma. She was pretty darn hip for that age. I mean, she had that 20s look, you know, bob haircut, really cool clothes, you know, just had that whole 20s vibe. But it was very interesting, and it was really cool that Dad used that as a gateway to learning about it, use it to build up our, to understand the history of the limb side, as well as a good way to communicate to everybody. You know, it was really cool. But the downside of it, I just want to share this really quickly, is the downside of computers is that it's not like a hammer, or it's not like a drill bit. You drill something, oh, damn, I made a mistake. Oh, that's right. Computers, you do something wrong, you do not know what happened. And so my dad was basically, you know, since I worked in the IT industry, I was basically free IT support. So the infamous ones that come up is like, why is this not printing? Ken, why is this not printing? How come I keep on pressing this button and the thing will come out? You know, that, and the second one was, the last one he did was, hey, I clicked on update Windows and now my computer doesn't work. So I got this shirt when I was working a long time ago. I always like to wear it because it really signifies my dad's. It says, my dad's item, this basically says, no, I will not fix your computer. Oh. So I don't want to say that to Dad, but I always worry. Dad, look at this. So anyway, so much fun. So finally, now the written part. As Dad and Mom downsized, Dad left some of the tools to me and my brothers, while the rest were given away. What were given away were the experience of learning how to use different tools, the joy of repairing or making something out of nothing, and most of all, spending time with Dad. Spending time was the most important gift Dad gave to me, whether it was staying up late to hear me bitch about school, friends, even camera house drama, watching me getting the Holly Holm treatment during judo. Holly Holm is a UFC fighter, so you can understand what happened when I was in judo. A skinny guy, kid getting smashed all over the place. Or just hanging out quietly, doing nothing, you know, just looking out the window. Thanks, Dad. As you stated the day before you left planet Earth, it was a good ride. And yeah, Dad, it was indeed a good ride. Thanks, Dad. Oh, thank you for coming. Thank you.
Sign the guest book.
Oh yeah, sign the guest book.